Root canal or dental implant? The $5,000 3D dilemma. My dentist spun the monitor around, and what I saw wasn't just an X-ray. It was a fully rendered three-dimensional model of my own skull. He zoomed in on a single tooth, a ticking time bomb in my jaw, and with one click, he peeled back the layers of bone and gum, revealing a shadow that shouldn't have been there. This wasn't just a cavity. This was a choice, a massive dental decision that could cost me thousands of dollars and my natural tooth. The dentist had pulled up this futuristic 3D scan, and it revealed a hidden truth that changed everything. That image and the decision it forced is what we're talking about today, the $5,000 dilemma between a root canal and a dental implant. It started, as these stories always do, with a dull ache, a throb in my jaw that I, of course, tried to ignore. You know how it is. You hope it's just a piece of popcorn or that you just chewed something a little too aggressively. But this ache didn't go away. It blossomed into a sharp, searing pain whenever I dared to drink something cold. The white flag was up. I picked up the phone and made the appointment I'd been dreading. I walked into that office thinking, okay, simple cavity, maybe a filling. I walked out with a multi-$1,000 decision that felt more like a gamble on my own body. My dentist laid out two paths, two futures for this one tooth. Path number one, we try to save it with a root canal. Path number two, we give up, pull it, and replace it with a titanium dental implant. The root canal, trying to save a sinking ship. So let's talk about path number one, the root canal. For ages, this has been the go-to for a deeply infected tooth. The whole point is to save your natural tooth. See, inside every tooth is a soft center called pulp, which holds all the nerves and blood vessels. When decay gets that deep, the pulp gets infected, and that's what causes that world-ending pain. A root canal is basically a microscopic rescue mission. The dentist goes inside the tooth, meticulously cleans out all the infected gunk, disinfects the now hollow chamber, and then fills and seals it to keep bacteria out. The biggest plus is obvious. You get to keep your tooth. Your natural tooth has this amazing sense called proprioception, which tells your brain how hard to bite down. You lose that with an artificial tooth. Keeping the tooth also holds the natural structure of your jaw and stops your other teeth from shifting around. As for the procedure, it's less invasive than surgery. It's often done in 1 or 2 visits, and recovery is usually just a day or two of feeling a bit sore. And then there's the initial cost. While it's not cheap, a root canal, even with the crown you need on top, is generally the more affordable option up front. But here's the catch. It's not a guaranteed fix. While primary root canals have a high success rate, somewhere between 85 and 95% over the long term, failures happen. Sometimes the infection isn't totally cleared, or a new one sneaks in years later. If a root canal fails, you might need a second one, a retreatment, which has a lower chance of success, or you might end up needing the tooth pulled for an implant anyway. That lower upfront cost can sometimes just be a down payment on a much more expensive problem down the road. Plus, a root canal tooth is no longer alive. It has no blood supply. Over time, it can get brittle and is more likely to fracture, which is exactly why a crown is almost always required to protect it. That brings us to path number 2, the dental implant. This is the modern and, let's be honest, more radical solution. Instead of saving the tooth, you replace it. The whole process involves pulling the problem tooth, then surgically placing a small screw-like titanium post directly into your jawbone. This little post becomes your new artificial tooth root. Over the next 3 to 9 months, a wild process called osseointegration happens, where your jawbone literally fuses with the titanium, creating an incredibly strong and stable foundation. Once that's all healed up, a custom-made crown that looks and feels just like a real tooth gets attached to the post. The benefits here are serious. First, the success rates for dental implants are sky high. Studies consistently show success rates of 95 to 98%, and they're built to last, many for a lifetime if you take care of them. An implant isn't just a placeholder, it actually functions like a natural tooth. By integrating with the jawbone, it provides the stimulation needed to prevent the bone loss that normally happens when a tooth is gone. And as a bonus, the crown is usually made of porcelain or ceramic, so it's completely immune to cavities.
The trade-offs, though, are pretty big. The most obvious one is the price tag. A single dental implant can set you back anywhere from $3,000 to over $6,000. It's a major financial commitment. The process is also way more invasive and takes a lot longer. It's surgery, and the healing period for that bone fusion can take months, leaving you with a temporary tooth or a gap. And of course, the biggest hang-up for a lot of people, you are permanently losing a part of your body. Your natural tooth is gone for good.
Navigating this decision felt totally overwhelming. If you're in a similar spot, just having the facts laid out like this can make a world of difference. And hey, if you're getting some real value out of this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. My whole goal here is to take these complicated, stressful situations and make them easier to wrap your head around. And your support helps me do that for more people. The 3D scan that changed everything. So there I was, back in the dentist's chair, my head spinning. Option 1 was cheaper and saved my tooth, but it was a bit of a gamble. Option 2 was a near-guaranteed long-term fix, but it cost a fortune and meant saying goodbye to my tooth. My dentist had the standard 2D x-rays, and based on those alone, he said, "Honestly, this could go either way. A root canal has a decent shot, but there are no guarantees." That's when he said the words that changed the entire conversation. Let's get a CBCT scan. A CBCT, or cone beam computed tomography scan, is a special kind of X-ray that creates a 3D image of your teeth, jaw, and all the surrounding bits. While a normal X-ray is just a flat picture, a CBCT scan gives the dentist a full 360-degree view. They can digitally slice through bone, spin the image around, and see your anatomy in a way that was previously impossible without cutting you open. It's like trading a paper map for a full-on GPS model of your jaw. He spun the monitor to face me. On the screen was this ghostly three-dimensional model of my skull. It was completely surreal. He zoomed in on the problem tooth. On the 2D X-ray, we could see a dark spot at the root, a sign of infection, but we couldn't tell how bad it really was. With the 3D model, my dentist started to digitally peel away the layers. He made the jawbone translucent, and suddenly the hidden truth was right there. The infection, which looked like a small, contained shadow on the old film, was way bigger in 3D. But more importantly, we could now see a hairline fracture, totally invisible on the traditional X-ray, running vertically down the root of the tooth. That fracture was the nail in the coffin. My dentist explained that a vertical root fracture is basically the kiss of death for a tooth. No amount of cleaning or sealing from a root canal can fix a physical crack running down the root. Bacteria will always have a highway to get back in, meaning a root canal was doomed to fail from the start. Trying to save that tooth would have been like trying to patch a hole in a dam that already had a massive crack through its foundation. It was a guaranteed failure. I would have dropped a couple of $1,000s on the root canal and crown, only to end up with a worse infection and have to pay for the implant anyway in a year or two. The 3D scan didn't just suggest a path, it eliminated one completely. The dilemma was solved. The choice was made for me. The tooth had to go. The decision to get a dental implant was still a big deal. The cost was high, and the surgery wasn't exactly something I was looking forward to. But walking out of the dentist's office that day, I felt an overwhelming sense of clarity, not confusion. That 3D scan had given me certainty. It turned a high-stakes gamble into an informed, clear-cut decision. It saved me from a failed procedure, a lot of future pain, and ultimately, thousands of wasted dollars. The world of dentistry is changing fast. Technologies like CBCT scans are transforming how these critical decisions are made, replacing guesswork with precision. If you ever find yourself in this $5,000 dilemma, ask your dentist if a 3D scan is an option. It might just be the one thing that shows you the hidden truth and helps you make the right choice for your health and your wallet.
This technology took my incredibly complicated and stressful situation and made the answer simple. It was still an expensive answer, but at least it was the right one. And when it comes to your health, that's everything.